All right, we're live. This is the Action Artist coming at you live. I've got my setup ready to go here. It's a little better. I just did a video. I looked at it. It was pretty crappy, but it got the point across. And I didn't really get to show you this, so this is what I was working on. Double page spread for Nutjob. A man pushed to the limits, loses everything, has nothing left to lose, and loses it. So there's my double page spread now. See, it was under there. I had to trace it onto there. And this is my tracing table. I'd like to show you what I'm working with. Some people asked some questions. Spirit Comics. This is where I'm going to be working now. So you can see, just like you're over my shoulder, I might get the laptop up a little higher or whatever. I'll do something. But either way, you can watch me draw now. I can, yeah, there you go, you know. So you can watch me draw. I might be able to just sit just like this. And I can tilt it up onto something. So this is my light box. It's called the Light Tracer 2 by Artograph. It's a big, I can do a full page comic, or a full comic page on here. I should move this, not the light box. There we go. That'll give me more room. So you can see, actually, if I just really, I'm just, you know, adjusting it. But right now, I'm just going to sit here and show you basically what I have to do. So I'll just push this in here now. And I'll set up like this, and you can see me. And then this will just be a video later. It's all right, you know. People are probably, I don't really give any warnings. I'm in the middle of cooking, as usual. Multitasking is a big part of my life because I have not eaten today. My dog's eaten. Making some coffee. All right. So what I'm going to do now, in case you're wondering, is hang on, let me get the comic book back together here. All right, the coffee's finally brewing here. So, here, let me get it all together. And I'll show you what my next step is, and you know, I'll do it either on camera or live or whatever. It doesn't matter. I can draw live. So, what I have is my opening page with his helmet with the cameras on it and stuff. The moon behind him. A blade coming out from underneath this left ear piece, just sticking out like a bayonet almost. And instead of like a it might have a microphone on it actually, or like at the base of it, in case he has, because he is going to have some teammates at some point. But here's the page. This is just me scribbling. Look how horrible that looks. But, you know, my point was I was just trying to get the shading at that point. I wasn't trying to get the anatomy, or, you know, it depends on what I'm trying to do sometimes. But this one is the finished product. And I'm going to have blood. He has to have, you know, this is horror, so I'm going to get some blood in the hair. There's going to be blood dripping off of his gauntlet, you know what I mean? Maybe some blood splatters on his leg, you know what I mean? And then these are panels up at the top. And in those panels, I've drawn a judge who turns out to be a satanic, like, coven leader. His wife, who's in the same satanic coven. There's Satanists all around him, and he doesn't even know it. He thinks a lot of them are Christians. There's him being dragged out of court by the bailiffs, and and then there's his children crying like, Dad, are you ever gonna see you again? And so basically, in this cop is part of the same satanic coven, which at this point in the comic he doesn't know yet. And my point, and I'm not really gonna do the detail like the hair and everything yet. I will do that. I'm not gonna do it now. This is to lay out. This is pretty much the final. Not really pretty much. I mean, it is the final. What did I do? Got it in the wrong order already. Oh, there we go. Okay. This is pretty much the final layout of the comic book. Now, this will be a stormy sky with some clouds and the moon, right? And then this will be his helmet, maybe with some scratches and nicks in it and stuff, and with the side towards the moon is lit, and the side towards the viewer is like all shadowed out, and there's some reflection on this armor plate. I'm just give it character, you know what I mean? Over on I might reduce that a little bit, just to give the armor plate over his left eye. There's a camera in there too to give it like some character, maybe some rivets or not rivets, screws, because that piece comes out. And then here he is on top of. You open it up, and then he's on top of this building. And then here he is taking off the helmet. He's happy with it. Then he puts the helmet back on. He's got like a compact submachine gun on his. It does like maybe 3-round bursts, and it's tube fed. It's not the biggest rounds, but it's enough. Trust me. And he carries extra tubes with him. He just can like put it in there and pull the tube out, and it's like loaded basically. And he has 2 ports, double. So it's like 3-round bursts on both sides, probably 10 rounds or so like that in each one. So he has to reload a lot, but anyway, he doesn't miss. The suit gives him strength, so there's like no kick or anything. As long as it'll have like a laser sighting on it. As long as he's like on target and he hits this 3-round burst, like you're fucked. Like he's gonna group them all right in there. And so then he decides to he puts the helmet on, decides to take the suit for a spin. You know what I mean? He's like flipping in the air, bang, lands down in the parking lot below. And then it's an overhead view of him walking towards this like window with garbage and stuff around, and climbing in. You get the hint eventually that he's in like an abandoned building. I have to get that across through like cracks in the walls and cobwebs and all this stuff. And and then I have to reference a lot of this. He pours some coffee. He's drinking coffee. He wants to go out, and he doesn't want to look too suspicious. So he can like take certain module parts of his armor off, and he can put it right under his clothes. So I got to indicate the armor like shining in there. And then I got to show he walks down some. You see him walking down some stairs right here, maybe even just like a silhouette of him, whistling or something like that, with it, with his hands on it, straightening his collar out or whatever. Or he's already straightened his collar out, so maybe I don't want to do that twice, but you understand what I'm saying. Then he comes across the police. Now his armor's done, and he's feeling cocky and like, oh, he comes across a police vehicle, and I'll have the storefront out here. So this is an establishing shot with a 1-point perspective for the viewer, and and I'll also talk about you'll know what he's thinking, and he'll be like, oh, so and he comes in, and right here, this shot, I have to bring the characters down lower and her down, them down lower, and show some shelves behind them. So it'll be like a from here up shot, and because right now it's practically a full bus shot, and I can't have that. I gotta indicate shelvings like he's in the store, and it's almost like another small establishing shot because he goes inside the building. Then he grabs some milk for coffee, which he's thinking about in thing, and then he approaches from behind, and he can't resist himself. He's just like, oh, this is the cop that framed me, basically. He's thinking about it while he's grabbing the milk. And right here, then it gets just, horrific. Like here, it just gets intense. You know what I mean? He's just like, thought it was funny to frame me, huh? Thought it was funny to frame me, huh? Like that, and like all this, and the cashier has no, the chick cashier has no idea what's going on, and but he basically throws her the money for the milk and like runs the f out of the building basically, and not, and or well, no, he has a conversation with the corrupt police officer who's like semi-conscious, and he strikes the officer. It's not an officer; it's a satanic. The satanic corrupt police officer. He strikes him a few more times, or a couple more times. Then he throws the cashier some money, and the cashier's like in complete shock. She's just like, and I'll show the money bouncing on the table, and then Nutjob exits the building, and then I'm going to have a good double-page spread of him leaping over like this. I'll even pose right here on this bench, leaping over a small wall down onto some train tracks, and I'm pretty much going to end it there. Another double-page spread, just a couple. I like them. This one's really not for the purpose of, like, the other one's going to be a more traditional, just big action shot. This is just me taking advantage of more page space right here because I'm not doing a full-size comic, and there was a lot for me to indicate here. We'll see how it turns out, but this is pretty much the page setup. If I don't like these cracked frames, maybe I'll just use regular traditional frames behind them in the background, but whatever I do, that's generally what the page is going to look like. And yeah, so my next issue, I might do some more detail on this page and show it to you, but my next project is the next page. And so when I get to that, when I get to that, I'm going to film it, or I'm going to do it live, and basically, that is where him and the cops start. Him and the corrupt police officer start having some dialogue, and the police officer's using The police officer sounds like he's pleading a little bit, but the police officer is really using psychology to try to get the guy to back down because there's not much he can do. But Nutjob understands that, and he's just like, bah! He's like, bah! Kicks him with his armored boot, and then just bang in the face, basically, and then bang in the face again, and just deconstructs the whole. Puts the cops basically in the ICU at that point, which I show the hospital and stuff later. I show the head detective at the hospital later. So I'll get to all that though. But I'm gonna stop it once I get to him leaping over the wall down onto the train tracks. I'm gonna slow down there, and because that's enough for me to send to a publisher. So what I'm going to do at that point, I'll talk about it more. But what I'm going to do at that point is I'm going to basically. Oh, I have a professional inker here on YouTube that's doing a new program where he charges you. He's a pro, like an absolute pro. I'm not going to go into the detail about it now, except that he's a pro in the industry, and he's doing tutorials online. This is a great idea. This is kind of like what I'm talking about for like Ethan to do, actually. I'm not asking for nothing for free or even a shout out. I just want to collaborate. And it would be cool if Ethan would do this too. This is what this other artist's doing. $45, 45 minutes. You send them your work. I would do this too if I was a pro. You know what I mean? It's a great idea. $45, 45 minutes. You send me your work ahead of time so I can get in my head what you're doing. This is what this guy's doing for me soon. As soon as Comic-Cons are over and all that. He's going to start this. But yeah, and you Skype, then you Skype live. And once he has an idea of what I'm trying to do with Nutjob in my head, he's going to help me in that direction with my inks. My inking is I haven't, I can tighten up my pencils much better than I show on here, but I don't like tightening them up that much because I'm going to ink them anyway. And I have kind of like Ethan does and all these other artists, they do the blue line. I just do light pencils just to get an idea. It's my inking that I really need to develop is my inking. And this what this guy's going to do. He's going to help me. He's going to basically, almost like we were in college in a classroom, he's going to stand over my shoulder and mentor me while I ink my comics. And if I'm not understanding, he's going to demonstrate like what he's trying to tell me right there with me on Skype. So you're about to see my artwork being taken to a whole nother level right now. And that's good because I'm getting ready to ink this. So that that's why I've been taking my time. As much as I want to rampage forward, I'm doing this. I'm showing the process of doing a comic book live, and you know what I mean. What I am going to do is when I do this page, if I don't do it live right here, the rest of the detail, I'm going to at least do it on my camera now with the computer angled down so you can see me working, and I'll shut the light table off, and I'll hold it right up in front of the camera like this so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm really going to shape the page. I'm really going to shape the everything out with, like you do, making almost like basically the doll shapes when you're just starting a comic page, before you do all the muscles and everything. I'll shape everything out while I'm tracing it, and I'm going to show you how I do this entire, I'm going to just do this entire comic page live, of him just having a flashback. Basically, this is all a flashback where he talks about like they took everything from me, and then you see him in the courtroom, and the wife, the ex is laughing at him, the kids are crying, the judge and the the bailiff might not be in on it. He's just doing his job, but the judge is like just treating him like a complete piece of garbage, and he's totally innocent, and then they just drag him out of the courtroom, and so he's flashing back to all this right now because this is the moment. Like you find out later when he has more, when he's remembering things, details that start before the storyline pickup, that he's been developing this armor. He's been already doing some light vigilante stuff to test the armor and to protect his little hideouts and stuff like that from other vagrants and squatters and stuff. And he makes friends with some pretty decent like punk rock kids and all this stuff, and he kind of like mentors them a little bit and teaches them some things until word gets out that he's there. And usually like the Judas Iscariot lets the word out that these kids are hanging out with Nutjob at an abandoned factory, at an abandoned mill somewhere, or in an abandoned house. And he's got to like get the hell out of there basically because he doesn't want the kids to get killed, usually if they're good kids. And so that's how the storyline goes. And I just wanted to show what I got done the other night, and I'm very happy with the way it's going, and it's just going to get better from here. And thanks for tuning in. This is the Action Artist.